Okay, I'm going to try to make this as simplistic as possible. I'm mainly doing this for Alyssa. Hopefully this helps you. So the overview slide is simply a reminder that we have words, pull them together, we'll end up with some phrases, like prep phrases and the participial phrases that we're talking about right now. String them together and have subject-verb teams in them, and you have clauses, independent clauses and dependent clauses. You know about adjective, adverb, and I'm not going to teach now. All right, so that's where we are. We're working on participial phrases. So in order to know what a participial phrase is, you have to know what a participle is, because a participle plus all the other words that work with it make up a participial phrase. So a participle is a form of a verb that's used as an adjective. What do adjectives do? They describe nouns. Now, one of the challenges with this is that we've also learned about adjective clauses. And so sometimes people get confused between an adjective clause and a participial phrase. Okay? The main difference is that the adjective clause has a has a subject and verb team in it, whereas the participial phrase doesn't have a subject. It starts with the verb, because remember, it's a verb. So because a participle is a verb form, when you see the verb form, that's what starts your phrase. Whereas an adjective clause has a subject and verb team in it. So let me just quickly show you a difference. So if I was describing a person, Alyssa, I think I spelled your name wrong, Alyssa, sorry, who is watching the screencast is my student. Okay, so we know from experience now that who is watching the screencast is your adjective clause. It's an adjective describing a noun. It has a subject verb team in it. Who is watching? Okay, so that's an adjective clause. How is the participial phrase different? Well, let me come down here and write another sentence. Alyssa watching the screencast is my student. Okay, so the main clause did not change. The main standalone clause is Alyssa is my student. Okay, and we added an adjective clause to describe Alyssa. So that didn't change. Alyssa is my student. That main clause did not change. All right, what changed is that instead of this being an adjective clause now, it's simply a participial phrase because it starts with a participle, right? And it takes on a do, just like this did up here. But notice it doesn't have a subject and a verb working together, right? So that's how they're different, and that's why people get confused. Now you'll notice that this participle ends with ing, so you know that that's a present participle. And this screencast is going to be talking about past participles. So that's what we're going to learn about. So I'm going to turn the page. So remember, with a verb, you have four forms. You have the present participle, that's the ing, that's what this was. Watching, watching the screencast, that's a present participle. And then you have the past, and then you have the past participle, which uses what makes it special, Alyssa, is that it's using these helping verbs had, has, and have. Okay? So walk is, I'm sorry, yeah, walk is walk, walking, walked, had or have or has walked. Eat is eat, eating, ate, has eaten, have eaten, had eaten. It has to take that helping verb, right? So we know that we can have present participles, and I'm telling you now, we can have past participles. So these forms and these forms can work as adjectives. I'm turning the page. So when you have a verb like run, run, running, ran, had run, let's see if we can turn it into um, a participle. So the first thing we talked about in class, though, is so we don't get confused, is that, you know, yes, it can be a participle, but don't forget it is a verb. Okay, so it is a verb. It was born to be a verb, so it still can be a verb. So if it's as a verb, it would look like this: I have run home today. Okay, so if I label this, I get I as my subject. Oops, I'm sorry, that's not what I want. Okay, let me go and get a pen that looks like a pen. How do I do this? Why am I messing up? Okay, so you've got I, and the verb, the helping verb is have, the main verb is run. Okay, so this is the past participle form of run, and it's working as the verb it was born to be. Now let's make it work as an adjective. And I'm not really good about using just run, so I can use it in a phrase. Let me try this. I, comma, having run, am at home today. All right, so now when I look at that and label it, I have I am, that's the subject verb team. This now is acting as an adjective describing the I, right? So that's being used as an adjective. And I can also use it in a phrase, right? I can say, um, having run all the way home, I am tired. So there it is in a phrase. The phrase now is, here's my participle, my past participle. Having run all the way home is my phrase. Subject verb is I am tired. Okay, so that's what we talked about. So we're looking at this past participle form, and we can use it as a verb, we can use it as an adjective, we can use it as a participial phrase. All right, so we practiced with walk, same thing. You would come in and you could say, I have walked. That's using walked as a helping and a main verb. I could say, the walked dog is my friend. Now I'm using it as a participle. And I can also use it in a participial phrase. Having walked the dog, I am happy to be home. So now I have my past participle, but I'm using it in a phrase. So let me quickly try to highlight. So here it's being used as a participle. Here it's being used in a participial phrase. And here it's just being used as the verb that it is. All right? Let me just make a note. This is the verb that it was born to be. This is the participle. It's a past participle. And this is a past participial phrase. All right, so that's what we did in class, and we basically did, several examples. So if we come over here, um, if we do it for sing, right? The verb sing is sing, it's singing, it's sang, and it's, oops, and it's have sung, or has sung, or had sung, okay? So that would be, the past participle would be have sung. And then if I use it as a main verb and a helper, I have sung the song. If I use it just as a past participle, I could say something like the sung melody sounded pretty. And if I wanted to use it in a phrase, I could say something like having sung the melody, Jody got into the choir. Okay, so again, that's what we went over in class, and I could say something like having sung the melody beautifully. Okay, all right, so then we turned the page and basically did more practice. So I'm going to challenge you to do it with the word drive. See if you can get it into the past participle form, right? I'll just get you started with the present. The present is drive. The present participle is driving. The past is drove. And then this one is have, and you need to fill in the blank. Once you get it, see if you can use it as a main verb and a helping verb. See if you can use it as a past participial adjective. See if you can see it in a participial phrase. And then the answers are on the next page. So you should stop the video and do that. I'm just going to go back though and remind you of the fact that I've done this already, right? So here's where I used it as a verb, where I used it as a help and main verb, right? Have, sung, working with the I. Here you see me using it as a participle, right? And it's sung melody, so it's describing melody, past participle. And here you saw me using it as a past participial phrase. Okay, so what I'm asking you to do on this page is the exact same thing, but you're using the word drive. So you got to get this one first. Then I want to see you do it as the main verb with a helper. I want to see you do it as an adjective, and I want to see you do it as a past participial phrase, which of course is also an adjective. All right, and there's some answers on the next page. So stop the video, do that, and if you're ready, here are the answers. Okay, they look like that. So you ended up with have driven, you ended up with I have driven, or some variation of that. As a participle, you could say driven, and again, now I'm describing the car. Car was out of gas. Or I could use it in a participial phrase. Driven a long way, the car was out of gas. Or having been driven a long way, the car was out of gas. There's a lot of varieties. I don't know what you did, but these are the ways that I'm using the past participle form of the word drive. Okay, that's it. So thanks for watching.